within himself that, yeah, I mean, I cannot tell this to mama, and she will feel, it's important to share. How can I say this? But when you ask this open-ended question, how did you feel when you shared your tiffin with somebody and somebody took it? I didn't feel good. Whereas some child would say, I felt very nice, and I felt that when I saw that smile on my friend's face, I felt very nice that because of my biscuit, my friend smiled at me. So that emotion is coming out. So you have to graph. As an adult, as a grown-up around children, we need to graph emotions so that, initially till the child comes to know what emotions are there within him, the parents have to make them aware of it by asking questions. So you were happy, so then they know. See, schools teach nowadays in junior KG and all, schools do teach happy, sad, and they come and say, Mama, I'm very happy today, I'm very sad today. But they do not really know what is sad and what is happy. And then when you scold, when someone scolds them, the teacher scolded you, how did you feel? And even if they cannot say happy and sad, then you draw in paper. There are paper dishes available, round paper dishes. You draw on that the smiley face, just a smile or a sad face, and just ask the child to point out, did you feel this or did you feel that? The child will immediately point it out, because at least that much the child knows how to express. And then you come to know that yes, today the child did not have a very good day. The child's day was not very pleasant. And this is how even the parents can work upon it. Otherwise we take things for granted. The teacher has to scold you, so what? Yes, scolding, but how did you feel? Even saying that much, that I felt bad, relieves 50% of your hidden or stuck up emotion. By identifying. Tomorrow if you had an argument with somebody, and if you just say, I felt very bad and I was very upset, that itself gives you so much relief that at least you have acknowledged that particular feeling within you. Happy and sad faces. As I said, in paper dishes, you can draw the faces and you can ask the children to point it out. Classroom news. I mean, there is somebody who's conducting some classes or something, you can or maybe help them when you have birthday parties and all. Maybe you can keep some news, just what was a good thing that happened today, or what was a bad thing that happened today. The child will recollect, and the child, by that time, the child knows what is good thing and what is bad thing. So the good thing might be that he snatched chocolate from his friend's hand and he ate it. For him it was a good thing. So he will write that. But then at least he was happy about it. So he has mentioned that he was happy about it. So that practice has to take place. So even as in families, when we sit together for dinner or something, when adults start sharing, when adults start saying, today my day was a little upsetting, I was very upset and I was very hurt because this has happened, the child automatically learns to express how he has felt for the day. Usually now in this world of ours, we run so much in the day that we come and talk only about material things and what are your achievements for the day. We do not want to talk about the failures of the day. But every day if there are some achievements, we definitely have some failures also. A simple thing like, there is somebody's place in the train and maybe you sat on that place. You feel very happy at the end of the day, good, I got to sit. But as a human being, somewhere while getting down, you would feel bad about all those people who are standing also. So that is a failure on your part, that you could not help somebody, but at least you could sit on that place. So these are small instances. If you just keep a record or track of it, you will come to know that there are several successes and failures we all experience during but if you start expressing that during the session, the family sessions, then that helps the child to automatically come up and identify his own emotions as well. Happy charts. There has to be a practice where you don't have time to talk regularly, or the entire family doesn't meet regularly. Then maybe there should be a chart kept in the house where each one can come and write their happy moments. So that is also a kind of acknowledgement. You can just acknowledging, you're kind of accepting, you're kind of identifying what has actually made you happy in that day. So these are some few ways by which we can help children to identify emotions. But I always feel, before we teach children to express emotions as adults, we should also practice that. Because children learn more of the observed things more than what we teach them. Because they say, yeah, mama is always asking me to say that I felt good or bad. But when she fights with my dadi and she fights with my grandmom, she always suppresses her tears. She says it's okay, this happens, I have to take it up. She never says she's angry. Why? So if she's not accepting it even in front of me that she's not angry, that means usually children have this feeling that what mom and dad are doing is the best or the ideal thing. So you say something but you do not do something, then that leaves a very contradictory kind of a teaching. So when you are teaching children to express themselves, we have to learn ourselves to express emotions. And this is not going to be overnight, because over the period of time we have learned to hide emotions. So if we commit to change, if we commit to express, we are going to take some time to start expressing. But trust me, once you start expressing, you are going to feel much, much, much lighter than what you are right now. Just to go a little out of the topic, I am learning something called as core somatic integration right now. It is like, how do you integrate your physical and your mental self? Now, this is a very common term which we all have heard of, meditate karo and you integrate, become one with the Almighty, one with the soul. But how many of us are successful meditating? When we meditate, how many of us are actually successful in completely dedicating ourselves to that particular thought? Are we? We cannot. Our mind keeps tricking us so much, and we cannot even keep a track of it. But what I'm learning right now is a very interesting thing. It's like you track your body, and because that's the reality, you see that, and that's not going to trick you. The mind tricks you, the body doesn't trick you. For example, if you've got some pain in your thigh or pain in your head, the pain is going to be there. If you say pain is not there, that's like fooling yourself. The pain is there and you are experiencing the pain. So when you track your body, there are so many different things you will feel. I'm feeling very sad that I do not have enough time to talk to you about this, but this is a wonderful concept wherein when you track each part of your body, you have different emotions attached to it and you have different feelings coming out. And that is when you come to know that, oh yes, when you touch your thigh or when you touch your back, you suddenly remember of one very bad episode that has happened in your life, and that back pain aggravates to an extent wherein you feel like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. So each and every physical symptom of ours is directly related to all our emotions, which I have been experiencing it lately. Till then, when I was giving workshops, I was very confident, and I was just saying that emotions do affect us. It affects our mental health and affects our way we regulate ourselves. But to the extent that they even affect us physically so badly, and we can see that in physical symptoms. And ignoring that emotion doesn't even only block you. These are, this is very commonly known. Depression, frustration, aggression are kinds of repressed and suppressed emotions. To the extent even cancers and all kinds of physical diseases also, malignancies especially, take place because of these hidden emotions. Because you have not, something is there which is there inside and you have never paid attention to it. You've never paid attention to it. Like there are people who are very physically fit, they are physically very conscious, but how many of them are even mentally fit? That's a question to ask. And you often keep wondering, this person just died. All of a sudden he had a massive cardiac arrest and he was so fit, I tell you. He used to go jogging every day. He used to eat absolutely low-cal food, and he was at the top of fitness chart. Then, in spite of that, he had a cardiac arrest. Why? Why? Exactly. There is something is built, something is stuck up inside so much that he is not able to come out of it. So it is very important that we also say, no, I am very expressive. If I am angry, I slap somebody, and I always say that I am angry at you. But do you always even appreciate that person? Do you even always come and say sorry when you are wrong? Do you even identify that? Do you even identify when you are happy? When you acknowledge even yourself? It's like not only feeling guilty and bad about yourself all the time. You can even say good about yourself. How many of us have anyway said, I'm a nice person and what I've done is a very good thing today? How many of us actually say this? Never. We are good people. Come on. When we are taught to do good things in life, unintentionally we help so many people, and we help we do so many good things, but when we acknowledge ourselves, we feel, अरे नहीं मम्मी ने सिखाया था बचपन में, ऐसा अच्छा काम करेंगे ना तो बोलने का नहीं. And when you say that, it's like you are being proud of yourself, and you are, वो हवा दिमाग पे हवा चढ़ जाता है, and you are started to feeling snobbish about the whole thing. It's not that. It's like when you say that to yourself, that no, I've done a good job today, and it's a nice thing. That emotion will be there in you, and that will make you do maybe much more good things than like these again. What is the significance of emotional health or emotional quotient? Now, it's a proved fact, it's a scientifically proved fact that the success rate today is more of all those people who are good or who have high emotional IQ, and not of those who have good intelligence quotient. Surprising, isn't it? Somebody in school who was a ranker, who was a 90% holder, is not doing good in his job today, and someone who was 70%, 60% student is fantastic. He's a CEO, he's a head of a company. How? Because that person probably was not good intellectually, but was very good at handling emotions. So the key point is that how do we handle our emotions? Once we understand our emotions, it's very easy to understand the opposite person's emotions, and that is a key to relationships, that is a key to the success. So it's very important to increase your emotional quotient. We are born with a particular IQ. We cannot probably increase or decrease it. But when EQ is concerned, we can increase and decrease it. That's the best part. So we should work towards it. We can work towards increasing our emotional quotient, because what lies behind every successful person today is more of a EQ. I mean, we can take example of anybody for that matter. Yes, these successful people are having good degrees from good recognized universities, but if you go to see them, if you analyze them psychologically, if you analyze them deep within, they are very good in relationships. They are very good at handling people. And any successful person, if you have good IQ, you cannot by yourself work. You have to handle people, and for handling people, what you need is to know their emotions. You have to come from head to heart. But coming to heart is even balancing yourself. When you come to heart, you cannot go or something without letting yourself fall off the balancing line. You have to be very balanced when you do that. But it's very important, and that is why being emotionally happy and healthy is extremely important. And emotional health, but not to put you people more into this whole emotional drama mode. I just want one thing: if you are having difficulties in actually coming up or identifying your emotions, there are situations wherein we are confused. We don't know what's happening with